Before we start our meeting today, we're going to have a pledge and we're going to have an invocation. And whether or not you want to participate in the invocation is up to you. The business that you come here to conduct will not be governed by whether or not you participate in the invocation. We open the invocation to all denominations or religions. And if you'd like to participate in that, you just call the mayor's office and book it with the secretary. So with that, we're going to stand, and Jane is going to give us a pledge today. Lead us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You'll remain standing. Knox Bullock is going to give us our prayer today.
Let's pray together. Father in heaven, we thank you for this day that you've given to us. We thank you as we start a brand new year here in Connersville, that you would be with us and keep your hand upon us. Make this a great, great year because of your presence and help. We thank you for our Board of Public Works and for our mayor, and we pray that you would bless them as they endeavor to make decisions that impact our community. Give them leadership and guidance, and help Connersville to continue to build and be a better community with your help. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thanks, sir.
Thank you, Knox.
We'll all turn our cell phones to the silent position. And we'll call the official meeting together and we'll have the roll call.
Jane Oakley. Present. Fran Schomel.
Present.
Leonard Urban.
Present.
Mike Bishop.
Present.
Ron Coldiron.
Present.
All are present. We have a quorum. We can do business. The reading of the minutes of the last meeting of January 6th, 2014.
Obviously January
13.
9th.
I move
14,
that
I'm right.
Please.
I move that we approve the minutes as they've been presented.
Second, please.
Got a motion and a second to approve the minutes as they were sent out to the members. Any additions or corrections?
No, sir.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you so much for doing that. We have the Spillman contract. We know what that is. That's our police contract where we do our reporting. It's mandated. We don't have much choice there. Any discussion?
No, sir. Is this an increase or does it stay the same?
Where's Jackie? Is this an increase in the Spillman contract, David, or is it the same?
Pardon?
Is this an increase in the Spillman contract or the same as last year?
I think it's the same. I have to check. I know that Jackie usually handles that, but I'm sure it's the same.
Is that important? You want me to skip it and
No,
talk to Jackie?
No.
that's her.
Just an informational question.
That's something we need every year.
I know what it is. Okay.
I move that we accept the Spillman contract for the police department for this year.
Second. Got a motion and a second to accept the Spillman contract at $17,588. Are there any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Okay. Paratech, Dave Beck. I saw him come in. You bring this down here from Michigan or from Indianapolis?
No, Indianapolis. Trying to remember.
Hi, Dave.
Wasn't too bad.
How you doing?
Business for today is just every couple of years we solicit quotes from environmental laboratories to do the testing associated with the remediation work related to the old Visteon plant. It was time to do that again. We anticipated total dollar value was going to be below $20,000, so we solicited quotes and evaluated those rather than going through the public bid process, which I think is greater than 100,000 or
150.
150. So I provided just a brief memo with our opinions and a table summarizing the different costs. All the costs were pretty close. They range from the project total cost range from $15,800 for 2 years to 17,000. And I don't see any reason why we shouldn't use the low bidder. All three were, quotes were solicited from all three because they're qualified labs. And the pricing for ESC, which is the lowest bidder, are actually some of the lowest prices for these type of analysis I've seen in quite some time, so they sharpen their pencils, so. I would,
You want to make a recommendation to the board?
yeah, yep, I'd recommend the board select ESC. And actually, one other thing, based on this pricing, we do this, we collect these every couple of years. I don't necessarily think there's any requirement to do this every couple of years.
I
It's
was
just.
gonna ask, what's the life of this?
Well, I mean, this is for a 2-year contract, and it's something we just kind of self-implemented to make sure we maintain competitive pricing.
I think it's good business to do it every couple of years.
Yeah, well, based on this pricing, I would be very surprised if we ever see pricing lower than this. I'm actually pretty surprised to see pricing this low. So I guess one thing that I'd like the board to consider is possibly giving us the option to extend this at the end of 2 years. So what is that, 2016, I guess now? 2 years from now, at the end of this, potentially extending this current contract an additional 2 years if the laboratory agrees to hold these prices.
Why don't you ask them for a chance to renew at the same bid and bring it back to us, or just send it down to Julie?
Okay,
If they
yeah.
agree to that, we'll put an addendum to the quote.
Okay, that'll work.
Are we
yeah.
committed, Your Honor, that after a certain time the buyer can't pick this up?
What buyer?
The West End building? No.
That's our
I got
responsibility.
you, okay.
Dave, you said this is a 2-year contract here?
Yeah.
It's got an expiration date of January 2015.
That's for the quote.
That's
So if we don't act on it and we don't, let's see, I guess it's the 16th, isn't it? They'll, I don't have their quote.
That's when it would end at the end of 2015, but ask them if we could renew, have the option to renew for 2 more years at the same price.
Right, yeah. And was your question, does it say their quote's gonna expire?
Quote expires January 10th, 2015 is what it says.
2015? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Actually, the contract.
So this is basically a 1-year quote then?
No, that's
Okay.
2 years.
2 years. We'll have all of 14 and all of 15.
Yeah, it's kind of like the election.
So, well,
So
that,
so the quote will go through 2015, but it's
Oh, that does say
expired.
January
yeah, and that's,
2015.
Yeah.
and that's their quote, but our contract with them is gonna spell out that these prices are gonna be maintained through the end of
December.
2015. And then we'll also put some language in there that we have an option to extend the pricing, and then at that time, we would just bring it back to the board.
Okay.
How are these products used? Are they used in the monitoring wells or?
This, yeah, these are actually laboratory samples. So when we go out and we
Okay.
collect the groundwater samples, or we collect soil samples, we put them in jars or bottles, and we ship them to the laboratory, and they actually do the analysis. So, and that tells us how much of the contaminant is in the groundwater or the soil.
How deep do you go?
We've got wells out here that are anywhere from 10 feet to 75 feet are deepest
Okay.
well out on
I
Water
thought you
Road.
did have, I couldn't remember. Thank you.
So-
On the scale, Dave, of 1 to 10, where are we at in this remediation project? How many years do we have to go yet, or what's your best guess?
Well, the city's responsibility, as I understand it, ends in 2019, at the end of 2019. There's
Or if we run out of money before that.
right there's both the dollar value and the date that to be considered. So at the once you reach once the city meets their requirements set out by the state, whether the site's clean, no matter what, my understanding is that, you know, the city has met their obligations once they spend a specified dollar amount or or the time, meet the time frame, or if they're done by a certain date.
And the dollars, where do they come from?
Comes from the loan we borrowed the money from.
Yeah, it's a brownfields loan that
Okay.
was set up during the Vistion bankruptcy.
And then, once that money is exhausted, if it does, there's a chance that we might get our part done before that, but if we didn't, then we have an insurance policy that Vistion was forced to buy by the bankrupt court that kicks in. That's the reason every invoice that we approve has to be approved by the insurance company. And so far, we haven't had 1 ounce of trouble with the insurance company.
No, they haven't
Yeah.
really, they've asked them some questions, but not about cost really, but more.
So by doing it that way, we took our obligation first, and we're actually gonna be done with it. And then.
The end's in sight, that's good.
Yeah.
That's what I
Yeah,
asked.
in terms of progress, things are going really well. I mean,
Good.
the remediation is progressing very well. Our biggest challenge right now is Mother Nature, is how quickly this stuff, between our cleanup areas, for example, at the airport and at Waterloo Road, that's where we have cleanup areas set up. We depend on Mother Nature to flush water between those two areas to clean it out, and it's dependent on that, how quickly the cleanup goes, so.
We get a report every year,
Yeah.
an extensive report, and it may be, well, I don't know, John, could I have the entire Board of Works attend that meeting to see that cleanup report? Julie and I see it, and I think it'd be well if the entire board saw it.
You would need to call them special meeting.
Can we do it in an executive session?
No.
Okay, that's the problem, because I think if you try to do it in the public, it's so complicated, it might be misconstrued, some of the stuff we.
Yeah, I mean, anything we're doing, because, we are getting approvals from the state, from brownfields for the loan amounts. Every report we submit is in the public domain,
Right.
so.
If you'd like to do that, it takes about an hour, and he has a video, and he'll show you exactly where we are. If you'd like to take that time sometime.
Fine.
And see that
We
report.
usually go through that, usually early on in the year. So we can.
Let me see if we could just make that happen next time, because it's very interesting, and
I think it would be.
it gives you a lot of insight of where we are.
Yeah, may I ask one more question? In your year-over-year comparison, are we showing improvement?
Oh, absolutely.
Good.
Yeah, so,
Now, we're not injecting the building at all anymore, we're just letting it air. We're not even pumping air.
right,
Yeah.
so, yeah, we don't plan on doing any more groundwater injections in the plant, and earlier this winter, we actually converted the soil vapor extraction system, which was a series of pipes that go down in the ground that we had a big blower hooked up to that basically just sucked air out of the ground. We decommissioned that system, removed it, and now we just have a few of those locations were left, a few of those pipes were left in the ground, and we just have those venting to the atmosphere so vapors don't build up below the floor.
Thank you. Sounds good.
Do you have anything else, Dave?
That's it, I just need approval to go to contract with ESC for the laboratory work.
Did someone make a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Okay.
That we-
Anyone second?
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second to choose EFC to buy these materials from, 2-year contract with the possibility of extending it for an additional, if the board wanted to. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Thanks, Dave.
Thank you, Dave.
Nice to meet you.
Resolution 2014-02, it's a transfer of $307 from other contractual to subscription and dues. Any questions?
I move we accept resolution 2014-02.
Second, please.
A motion and a second to pass resolution 2014-02, transferring $307.50 from other contractual service to subscriptions and dues. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Request Bucket Drive storm on March the 15th. Reverend Rick Wright What I missed?
Number D.
Skipped one.
D, C, D. Request for Bucket Drive Hope Center on May the 10th.
There you go.
Reverend Knox, you're going to do 2 jobs today?
I guess so. I'm on the board of the Hope Center, used to be known as the Hope Pregnancy Care Center, but we've changed the name to Hope Center. And just asking for approval to do a bucket drive on May the 10th, the day before Mother's Day.
All 3 locations, Reverend Bullock?
Yes.
Okay.
I guess it's open, Melissa? Okay.
I move that we accept that request for a bucket drive for the Hope Center on May 10th, Your Honor.
I'll second.
Okay.
Any other discussion?
No, sir.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Request for a bucket drive for Storm on March the 15th, Reverend Rick Wright. I got so excited because I saw March the 15th and I'm thinking, maybe we'll have some warm days today.
It was warm this past year. Anyway, this is our 7th year doing the storm rally, and just request for a bucket drive, Saturday, March 15th from 9 to 1. 3 locations, 24th and Grand, 6th and Grand, 7th and Central.
What's your pleasure, board?
If it's open, I move to approve the bucket drive for Storm.
Second.
The date's open.
A motion and a second to approve the bucket drive for Storm on March the 15th, 3 locations, Reverend Rick Wright. Any further discussion?
What year is this, Rick, for you?
This is the 7th year.
7th?
Great.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? You got it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Department heads, we'll take Dave Nutty first.
Moving right along, aren't we?
Hi, Dave.
That's good. Thanks.
We'll see.
I've got just 2 things I want to bring before you today. One is, we discussed last meeting an agreement with Wessler for annual stormwater professional services, and you requested that they reduce the not-to-exceed amount from $15,000 to $12,000. And in their studies, they believe that can be done. So I have a new agreement with a not-to-exceed $12,000. It asks for a signature from myself as utilities manager and city clerk treasurer, but still need your approval to do so.
Is it a contract?
Pardon me?
Is it a contract?
Well, it just says agreement, so I assume.
I think it has to be signed by the mayor. All contracts have to be
Yeah.
signed by the mayor.
Didn't we do that last year?
We already approved it for
Yeah, I think we approved it for
12,000.
12,000.
We just didn't have the,
Okay,
But we can sign the new one if they want to sign it.
okay. We can do this signatures afterwards, okay? The other thing is, and I brought our water plant operator mechanics with me in case there's questions I can't answer, but for the last couple of years, we've been working with a water booster station on Gray Road, which is located at the corner of Gray Road and Ranch Road. And a booster station does just that. It raises the pressure in an area. In this case, it pushes it east up Ranch Road and south down Gray Road to feed everything down there, the school system, the Hickory Hills, and so forth. And over the years, from its first installment, which is in 1990, to now, the hydraulic demand has changed. So these guys have been working for a couple of years trying to keep that thing adjusted so it doesn't produce too much pressure or not enough pressure, because it is a cross-the-line start pump. It's either on or it's off. So depending on the demand, particularly with the different activities at high school, which sometimes is a lot and then very little, they're having a little trouble doing that to provide the correct amount of pressure in that area. What I would like to do is convert that across the line start motors to a VFD, variable frequency drive, and I know you're familiar with that. We've talked about them in the past, not only in water but also wastewater and blowers, and how VFDs save money because they only use as much energy as what's required at that time rather than full out. I'd like to convert that over. The company that did that for us was EFI, Engineered Fluid Incorporated, in 1990. They also the company that works on our SCADA system, which they are coming in to repair that, if you remember correctly. They have offered to come in and give us a reduced cost if they can do that at the same time. No engineering costs are included, there's none needed. They did the original work in 1990, they still have all the plans, they know what can be done. The cost, if they can come and do it at the time that they work on the SCADA system, is it's $12,876. If they come back in on a different trip, technical trip, it's $14,752. And it's mainly just because of travel.
What are they gonna do to it?
They're gonna-
What things are they gonna add?
The motors and the pumps remain the same. All the valvings remain the same. They just change the controls so that the motors will speed up and slow down depending on the demand of pressure.
How do they sense that demand?
It's a programmable logic control, a PLC, along with also PIDs, which is what...
Electronically.
Yeah, it's electronic.
It feels the pressure then.
We have one other VFD booster station in Connersville. That's the one that feeds Country Club Road 300 West all the way out to Pleasant View. Since at the dead end, we don't want to push too much, so it speeds up and slows down depending on demand. This would do the same. I believe that it will also not only solve the problems there, but it also save us money over the years because of they're only using the energy needed. But it is it's $12,876, and that is all of the controls will be completely redone.
And where do you see the cost savings in this at?
Energy mostly.
The
The other thing is
electric or water or?
energy mostly. The other thing is the motors and pumps. When they come flat on, it's harder on them than if they rev up. So there's some equipment savings too, but they have a longer life.
Thank you.
How long will that take to do it?
I think they thought they could do this in a day. I have their agreement here, and I believe they can do this in a day. Because what they do is they build this in their shop, then they can bring it and install it in our panel.
What's the warranty on it?
Well, the equipment itself is 90 days, just like any manufacturer's warranty, but their service, they stay with us. Well, we've had their SCADA system since '06, and we still call them.
And they don't charge us when we call them?
Am I correct? We call those guys and...
Anytime we have trouble we need to ask about, they're always right there for us.
Yeah, and if it's not an emergency situation, we do it by email, but they're always available by phone call. Now, and that is, now if a technician comes here, we pay for the travel then, but generally we can do everything over the phone and
I lived out there when we didn't have this booster, and sometimes the water would just drip out of the faucet, and you couldn't water your garden or wash your car.
Good idea.
And everybody out there griped about it, and then when they put that in, it was the answer. Now it's just more modern and more.
It works toward the demand, basically.
yeah,
what
it does. Rather than pushing as much water as possible that pump can, and no one's using it, and making the pressure way too high, or lots of demand, a hot summer day, and they're working at, there's water in the lawn at the high school and so forth, and then we have low pressure. So this would fix that.
I know you guys think I don't know what I'm talking about, but we use this in an embalming method. The machine feels the pressure that you're putting in. Maybe I shouldn't say that on TV, but everybody knows that's what I do. But it's the same system. It feels the pressure and it adjusts back and forth to what you need. So I am familiar with what you're talking about on a much smaller scale, little tiny hose about that big.
Yeah, but
So you're doing-
fluid pressure is fluid pressure.
You're actually operating now just on mechanical pressure switches, is that what they're doing?
It turns it off, it's either off or on.
It all
Right?
makes sense.
It does operate off the pressure when this target pressure is shut off. It's supposed to transfer to a second pump. They alternate back and forth. And also the high school, with their restrooms, they have a newer style that what's the name of it? Sloan
Slow
Valley.
down,
Slow.
so.
And they operate off of a certain set pressure. If they don't have that, they're out of business, so.
Especially when you get simultaneous use or you get a crowd there.
Yeah,
no
in
problem.
between classes.
Can
I
we-
apologize for not introducing these gentlemen. Roger Newcomb just spoke. He is our chief mechanic and operator. Dave Kunkel replaced the retired gentleman a couple of years ago. He's one of our maintenance and operators too. They both are WT3 certified and DSL. Roger also has a WT5, so they're highly qualified for this job, and they just happen to have that natural skill also of mechanics. So we're real blessed to have them both up there. I appreciate it.
Can we get it done any cheaper?
I mean, there's, I guess, always the chance of shopping around.
Have we bid, you've not bid it, have you?
No, the reason why I didn't bid this is because this equipment, this booster station was built by EFI. And they, like I said, they have all the background on it. All they have to do is now take those same plans and instead of cross the line on off to make it VFD. So anyone who come in, they're going to have to send people here, do a study, do the math. I just don't-
Re-engineer it, basically.
Basically re-engineering, and these people, all they're doing is adapting it to a VFD, which is, like you said, the new, the modern way to do that.
Any
Mayor,
further
I'd-
questions?
I'd like to move that we make a motion to go ahead and accept this bid on the VFDs. It only makes sense that the thing's going to be operating on its load demand, and
I'll
it's
second.
going to save a whole lot of mechanics.
Got a motion? And a second. Did you get all that he said?
Yep, well,
Yep, I got it.
I do want to mention that the company that actually going to do the work is called Engineered Solutions Midwest. They are the Indiana version of the EFI who originally built it. So in
I'm
case
surprised it's not already there in VFD. I don't
Well,
already know how you're controlling that thing with this mechanical.
it's tough, and that's,
It's
Yeah.
hard going.
Not that time of load, that's, yeah.
And that's why it's gotta be, wear and tear's gotta be an issue.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Got a second? Further discussion?
Nope.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
thank
That
you.
was
I
two-
have nothing further.
That was 2 items.
That was it. He said
Yeah,
nothing further.
unlimited time. Thanks, I appreciate it.
Then I'm going to ask you about the Country Club Road and 300 West. What did you do out there? I saw a few claims.
Originally, we had a person who wanted to get on the sewer, and they were too low to do so for the corner of 300 West and Country Club Road. So they put their own personal lift station, sewer lift station there, to push it to the manhole. We did some additional work out there, hooking up water and sewer to a new home, and it appears as if the backfill, as it settled, evidently did some damage to that line, causing the trouble with that gentleman. So we had a lot of work out there to repair that.
Okay, okay. Okay, I just wondered, thanks.
Any further questions, David?
Is the overtime so high still because we're reading the meters manual? Is that the reason why the overtime running high?
Well, it depends on what, if it's overtime.
$6,000 in the water
Yeah.
department.
A lot of that could be weather too.
I thought a lot of us put meters in, wasn't it?
Well, we haven't been doing that for a little while.
Yeah, he's looking back on it.
Yeah.
But reading the meters, we try not to get too much overtime on that, although we do have some weekends.
I meant a combination of reading the meters and installing them, guys. I didn't mean to separate it, yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay. Police chief.
There should be a letter in your packet. I've had some previous conversation with the mayor and also Julie in regards to our manpower level since Officer Jackson was Detective Jackson has retired and put our manpower down to 25. And that means we have 19 officers on the street. I moved one officer off the line and put him in the detective slot. And I've come to the board and asking if we could possibly hire one of our part-time officers, Brad Rosser. And like I said, I've had previous discussions with Mayor. Do you recall my discussions with you in regards to it and everything? Okay.
I don't.
Anyway, I'm asking the board this time to consider him. He's one of our part-time officers. As a letter here, with the recent retirement of Officer Frank Jackson, we are requesting to replace him. We would like to hire Officer Brad Rosser. Officer Rosser is currently working as a part-time officer for our department, and he is working full-time for the Fayette County Sheriff's Department. He has been employed with the Sheriff's Department since May of 2010. Officer Rosser is an excellent police officer and works with the public very well. With Officer Rosser having already been Indiana Law Enforcement Academy and currently working with our department, and he's pretty much, he knows all our computers and stuff, and he works part-time for us, and he's partially equipped, as far as with uniforms and weapon and vest and all this. There'd be no additional training that would be needed for him, and also he is a veteran of the Marine Corps. And so, with your approval, I would like to hire him.
I don't really know enough about him. Does he live in Fayette County, Connersville?
Yes, he does.
In the city or in Fayette County?
I'm not too sure. Brad, where are you living at?
Live just outside the city, live in the Triangle, out in town. Just a couple minutes outside the city.
Any questions for the prospective officer or the chief?
Will you backfill him with another temp?
Yes, I will. I've already got, I'm looking at one right now. In fact, he's a Hagerstown police officer, and he's from Connersville.
Let me ask you this. With this hire, would we be at 25?
We'll be at 26. We were at 26 until Frank retired, and now we'll be at 25. And then, with Frank retiring, it was to 25. And then of course, we have 4 part-timers, but that would take us to 26. And that would basically be 20 officers on the street.
Can you tell me what your overtime looks like for last month? I don't have it before.
I don't have my list. I could run it, get it real quick.
Fran's got it.
I have his report tonight.
25 firemen, 26. Okay. Was that total overtime, that was 145,828.
Yeah. So we had that comp time and what else, so I understand.
Why is that so high?
Bicentennial?
Oh, my God. We spent $145,828.76 last year in overtime in the police department. If you go to 26 officers, what's that gonna do?
Well, if you take out the bicentennial on that, it's a lot less, but it will stop it from being any higher because we have our shifts back up to what we agreed to have. Right now, we're at the first shift 6 people, second shift's at 7 people, which we've been keeping at 8 because that's our biggest and busiest shift. And then the third shift is at 6 people. So and when the months come on up, we'd be into using more overtime when it comes to vacation time. Because we've also got more people now this year that have time on due to the contract. They're going to move from 5 weeks vacation up to 7 weeks vacation. I'm just trying to maintain the employment capacity at what we were at 26 officers versus I feel like it's going to cause more overtime if we leave it, unless we have to run a shift, 3 shifts efficiently with hardly no overtime. You have to have 3 8-man shifts, which we don't have the manpower to do. We got 2 6 and 1 7 right at the moment, and we bring this one on now, it'll be 8. we work on, I watch that overtime all the time. I've only got so much control over it though.
Plus you got vacations and sick
Yeah,
days.
so when the spring and summer and fall comes in play, and also at Christmas, and you're gonna have all these officers working or taking vacations, and that's where the overtime comes. And I use my part-timers as much as possible. And they did take about 2/3 of the overtime, cut the overtime down, the part-timers did.
You can only use a part-timer 30 hours a week.
Pardon?
You can only use them 29 hours a
True,
week.
that's very true. I'm limited how much I can use them.
That's not as much of an issue for you, though, as it is for the 24-hour
Yeah.
shift guys.
Yeah.
So you got 3 there on the street, 3 part-timers.
Yeah, counting Mr. Rosser here, yes. Yeah. And if you choose to bring him on and then put him back to what we were, then I would bring another part-timer on to make up the difference.
I didn't realize you were bringing this today. I would have really rather you talk to me about this, and I'd like to compare the overtime the last 2 to 3 years and really looked at it, and then kind of compare where we're going to be with the 29 hours with each of the part-time guys.
I apologize, Mayor. I thought we
I did not.
talked to you several
I did
times
not.
about it.
I was shocked when I saw it on there.
Would you prefer we table it? I don't have a problem with it.
I'd like to see you guys discuss it a little bit. Maybe you know more about it than I do. Fran, you got any insight?
Well, I think to fill Frank's spot, because it will make it even more difficult for David in his scheduling, so if the contract calls for 26, I think we need to go to 26.
The contract does not call for 26.
Oh, okay.
The police contract doesn't have a number of men.
I see.
It's the fire contract. I was confused.
Okay.
It did have, the contract before, it did have.
Yeah, well, not the new
But-
contract. The new
but
contract
that
has no
contract
number of
didn't get in
men.
there.
Jane?
I don't have a problem with dealing with this today. I think we need to fill the position. And I think the overtime, I think the 7 weeks vacation that's coming up with some of them is really going to have an impact when that starts on manpower. And I think that position needs to be filled.
And I'm not against the police department. I watch what they do and I see what they do. It shocked me that we had this coming up today. Go ahead.
Well, it's 6 one way and a half dozen the other. If you don't fill it, if you don't backfill, you're gonna have to cover with overtime. It just, at some point in time, so
Yes.
I don't have a problem with it either.
Connie?
I think it'd be interesting to find out what the average overtime was prior to this bicentennial year. That would give us a better feel for the
I
money that's
believe
being
it's on the
spent.
bottom, Your Honor, of the past years, I believe, isn't it?
Yeah, we have the totals, 125 in 2009, 94 in 2011, and 94 in 2012. We've cut that overtime. That used to be $245,000. We've cut that way
Yeah,
down.
it was way up
Right.
there.
But,
And that was before the new contract with the 7 weeks vacation kicks in.
David, I thought we were getting rid of the 7 weeks. I thought 5 was the
Well,
max.
that's not my,
No,
That's
no,
gone.
it's always
still
been
never-
it's
7
always
weeks.
been 7 weeks.
Well, I know, but I thought we were running the course of those people that were covered by that 7 weeks
No.
thing. It was extended apparently, and I didn't
That has never been
realize that.
negotiated out. That's never been negotiated out. It's always been that way. And they got them vacation back many years ago, when I'm talking 20-plus years ago, when they couldn't, it's probably longer than that. It's probably working on 30 years ago, when they didn't have the money to give raises, so in lieu of money, they gave more vacation time.
Right.
The average overtime's more like 5,000 to 6,000, and of course, in July, we ran 32,350 because we had the bicentennial.
20,000 of that was overtime.
20,000 that was
Bicentennial.
overtime, and then, of course, in August, for some reason, we ran 11,000, which was 3,000 or 4,000 over. I don't know what happened in August.
That's
Was
a
that
heavy
still left
vacation
from
month.
bicentennial?
Well, it's heavy vacation month. You had to,
Yeah.
fair going on. Well, the fair really didn't affect us any.
So if you took about 30 off of that, we'd be at 114. So, okay. Is there a motion to hire this? I don't doubt the officer's a good man. I would have liked to study it a little bit more.
Mayor, I apologize. I thought we had
Go ahead,
talked about
if you would
that.
like to make a motion.
I make a motion that we hire Officer Brad Rosser to replace Officer Frank Jackson, who retired
I'll
Was that
second.
effective February 1st?
effective
Yes.
February 1st. I'm sorry, Julie.
Yeah, he has to resign down there.
Just giving them a little time too.
Does that make the sheriff mad at us?
I'm not gonna take on him no more. I'm not gonna,
You keep hiring his people.
I know I keep hiring his people, so I'll get a guy
Let
from
him train it on
Hagerstown.
the tech.
He's a hometown boy too, so.
Somebody's got to do it.
Is there a second?
Fran second.
I say
Fran
yes.
second, okay. And since it's an important issue, you may be with us as much as 25 years, we'll have a roll call vote.
Jane Oakley,
Yes.
Fran Schomel.
Yes.
Leonard Urban.
Yes.
Mike Bishop,
Yes.
Ron Coldiron.
Yes.
Can I make a wisecrack?
Sure.
You told us about the funeral home. boy.
That's your wife.
I'm ready for it, go ahead.
Let somebody else train him on operating the gun.
That's
better, Mayor.
I might even go back through training myself.
I'm sorry, I just had to say that.
I know you did, I've expected it,
Did you?
yeah.
Officer Rosser, we officially hired you and worked with the chief, and we'll look forward to you. We'll swear you in. Or is he already swore in? Does he have to be sworn in again?
I don't think so.
Since he's a part-time
No,
officer?
he just slides into full-time. That's what, it's been so nice with the last two.
Plus, there's no he has no training to go through, so that's a
Yeah,
plus,
now
right?
he's already
That's a
in the system.
savings there, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, David, did you have anything to bring to us today? I notice you're here and you're not on the agenda.
No, I just come to visit.
You come to visit.
How about the trash,
Mike does.
Dave, how about the trash schedule for this week since we've had a down day?
It's good, everything's good.
Everything's the same?
Thing on schedule.
Okay, good.
Did Mike?
Yeah, got something real quick.
I thought maybe Dave had to leave.
According to the union contract and the salary ordinance, I'm able to assign a group leader at an additional 50 cents an hour. I need someone with, I can make quick responsible decisions at times when I'm not around. In the past, I really didn't have a worker that was really wanting that additional responsibility, but with all these projects we're doing, I have Bill Dunsel I'd like to assign as our group leader. He's willing, he's trustworthy, and he's pretty qualified for this position. But there's times a decision needs to be made, and I'm not always around to make that decision.
John, does the contract allow for a group leader, or do we have to amend the contract?
No, the contract, it was in there, Mike and I looked at
Oh,
it.
you looked at it?
You looked at it already? I
And
don't
it's in
recall,
the
frankly.
salary ordinance too.
It's already in the salary, in the budget.
Good.
Okay.
What is it, 50 cents more an hour?
Yes.
Not really in the budget, but
Do we have to change the salary ordinance to council?
no, look, salary, it's already addressed in the.
It's all addressed, okay.
I
Okay.
move that we assign Bill Dunsel as group leader of Parks Department.
Is there any discussion? I got a second?
I second it.
Got a second. Any discussion?
Got it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. That's all you got for us today?
That's-
How's the building coming?
Slow.
Wonder why?
So,
Hard to dig holes in them.
Public forum, I don't want to miss that. Anybody out there have anything they'd like to discuss? None. Public forum's over, and miscellaneous business, board. Jane, I'm going to start at your end. You got any miscellaneous business?
No, I want to thank Street Department, I'll just keep it within the city, for the hard work they've done to keep the roads open, and I know they do a very good job and very hard work, and sometimes they wonder why we don't go to school, but there are many, many factors, not just whether the streets are clean, it's temperatures, where kids stand, what the county looks like, and we were due for a rough winter, we've got it, and I appreciate everybody out there that's working hard to keep everybody safe. Thank you very much.
We appreciate it. We love those calls at about 5:30 when they say 999-999-9999. Okay, any miscellaneous business, Frank?
Are you making any progress on the building on 8th Street that the council has approved?
I have talked to a company about renting a Traco, and then I heard about another company in Greensburg that would probably be closer.
That's the one I talked to.
Then we got all this storm, and
Yep.
I kind of let it go.
Okay.
I talked with one of our board members, and he kind of wanted to bring it up, and I thought maybe he would when I go down to miscellaneous business. He'll probably bring it up when I get down there.
He wants to tear it
But
down.
the council is really wanting us to try this, to tear it down. I had another person approach me and tell me that we could file charges against the guy that owns it in another venue. And I asked Mr. Baker this morning if we could do that. Mr. Baker said we could if it was money, but we can't because it's a building. Is that right, Mr. Baker?
That's right. We didn't sue them for a money amount because we wanted the building taken care of or demolished. So we got an injunction for that purpose.
If we re-sued him for money, could we do that?
You would have a money judgment, but that isn't gonna get the building torn down either.
Okay. this party was telling me that since this man owns property in Wayne County, and he paid for it up there, that we could possibly file a suit up there called a foreign suit. But Mr.
Well, no,
Baker said-
what he's saying is this judgment could be filed, docketed in Wayne County. And if he owns real estate in Wayne County, it would affect that property, but that's only good if it's a money judgment, which this is not. This is an injunction.
Okay, so we tried another avenue, we're trying every avenue we can. So, we'll get down here to Ronnie and see what he's got in wisdom on this building.
Okay.
They have a lot of the city, 12,300 to do something with it.
Yes.
And they indicated, and which they don't have the authority to, but they indicated they'd like to see us rent a machine and try to tear it down. So I kind of wanted to see what this board said, but I was getting some prices until the bad weather coming. I wouldn't want to try to do it now.
No, that's delayed everything.
So, Mike, have you?
I have one question for Dave. How we doing on salt? I see the supply and demand in Indianapolis. They were going to Walmart and buying it.
I ordered some more this morning.
Are we able to get it? Good, okay, thank you. That's all I got.
Ronnie, you got any
Well, I
miscellaneous?
think, just to kind of follow up on, I did ask the mayor, I had a conversation with him on the 8th Street property, if we do end up taking the building down and actually demo it and doing away with it, we've probably increased the property value, which is still gonna be in the owner's name, which I understand we can put a lien against the property. I'd just like to know how the board feels. Should we go ahead and, I understand the guy give the property away if he can, should we go ahead and put it in our name? So we do have a better lot when we get done, or do we just leave the lien on the property, hoping that he sells it and then just make a judgment against the monies that's acquired on the property? That was my feeling. So I don't
John,
know how does the
question
board
for
feel
you.
about that situation.
Well, does the city want to own substandard properties, I guess is a question we have to address.
Of course, it won't be substandard after we pay the money to have the building removed.
It'll be a vacant lot
Yeah,
to whatever advantage, I don't know.
yeah. Well, to me, the lot would be worth more money with the building gone than it is with the building on. I think that's the point that I'm making.
Well, I'm sure it would be.
Yeah.
Maybe it would be worth a couple $1,000s instead of a negative figure.
Yeah, yeah.
Is the owner a Fayette County resident, Mr. Baker?
No, there's two owners, and they live in.
No, we
Wayne County.
had to do a notice by publication. So they live in.
Well, again, it's a point of discussion. I mean, maybe the board feels the same way. I don't know. Just made sense to me that we're actually making a value out of something that's basically a negative right now, so, and leaving it in his name, so I
Well, I
don't
don't
know.
think that's the purpose of the whole project. I think the purpose of the project is to bring the building into compliance with the ordinance. And, or if the owner doesn't do it, we've been ordered by the court to do it. That's why we have a judgment.
Well, and the point is, with that building, he's gonna have to pay up to $20,000 to us before he can ever sell that property.
That's true. There's a lien
If we
against it
spend-
like a mortgage.
Yeah, but if we only spend 12.3, then he has to pay us up to 12.3.
Right.
But we could put his maximum would be 20,000, because there's 4 apartments, right?
Right.
Is there already a tax lien against it, property lien?
That I don't know. Do you know what? I did at one time. I think there is.
So he'll have to pay all that too, won't he, Mr. Baker, if we
Yeah,
get?
and I'd be surprised if he had been keeping the taxes
That's
paid.
what I
I'd be
thought.
extremely surprised. But I don't recall if there's tax liens or not. I don't need to look into that part.
So I guess what we're saying is the majority of the board thinks it's better just to leave it like it is, and if we can take care of the property, take care of it, and leave it in his name. Is that what the board's saying?
And that's what where the law reads, state law reads that way, that they retain ownership of the ground even after we remove the building.
I got a question, Mayor, then we'll be responsible for the grass mowing on that property then?
If it's not cared for by the owner, we would have to go in there then, once it reaches that height, we would have to cut the grass there. And then, of course, we would file another lien. We can file additional liens for grass cutting beyond the tearing down of the building.
Bottom line, he can't do anything till he pays up,
He
correct?
can't do anything till he pays his taxes and his
Right.
liens.
Thank you, that's what I thought.
He owns the property, but it does him no good, because he can't do a thing with it. The bad thing that can come along here is the commissioners can put it up for commissioner sale. and we've heard two different versions on this. They could sell it for $200, but they can't forgive the liens, can they?
Yes, I
They
believe
can
they
forgive
can.
everything.
They can.
Yeah.
Then we'd be out.
And the intent of that is to get it back on the tax rolls.
But they haven't been doing that, have they?
Yes, they have some.
Yeah. Yeah,
That
so
would be a
they have
bad deal.
tax sales, commissioner sales.
Yeah.
They sell it for $200, forgive all the liens, and someone gets it for $200. And we got
And the taxpayers back out.
$12,300 in it.
Which goes back to the original thought of mine, it throws the tax burden back on the tax, our tax base, you might say, but that's, or it throws the expense burden back on our tax base. is what
Well, let me
I'm
tell you
trying to
some
do.
good news. If it hadn't snowed pitchforks and hammerhells the other night, I would have been in Richmond. The state has come up with $221 million, and I think I'm telling you right. They're going to distribute to cities to help tear buildings down that need to be torn down. There's a formula, and Dan and I are going to find out what the formula is, and we're going to apply for some of that money.
Sure.
So we will be having some money to tear buildings down.
Good.
I'm not sure of all the details of it yet, but we should know here in a month or so. But every city is facing exactly what we're facing.
Yeah.
And what we've been doing is taking the worst ones and try to take them down. It's not those that have been on the list the longest. However, I believe this apartment complex is the longest one on the list, is it not?
We took a judgment in 2010.
11, 12, 13. So it's been on the list to tear down for 4 years.
Somebody's going
Do we have anything else on the list to be tore down?
Not that I recall.
Nothing that has a judgment?
Right. We have a lot that we can get judgments against.
Any further discussion? Do you want to tell me what to do, or you just want to try to do what the council wanted done?
If in fact the county would do that, Your Honor, could we go back on for half the demolition price?
No.
No, nothing. It's just theirs, right? Okay.
Would the county do that without consulting us?
I don't understand how that
Waive
plays
the
in there.
fees? Waive
No, I
the-
mean, put it on the commissioner's sale, wouldn't they?
They don't have to
talk? I
consult
know they don't
us.
have to, but wouldn't they, as a courtesy, come and?
They never have. We've had property sold that
That's a
had
problem.
sewer liens, weed liens and so on. And there's-
I think we've had other ones with, where we've torn properties down.
Yeah,
I bet we have.
Waived the liens.
Any further discussion on that property? You kind of want to pursue it like I'm doing, try to get a track over and see if,
Yeah, I think that's a beginning, yes.
I talked to that place in Greensboro, Your Honor, back 3 years ago when we was talking about
I
this.
think you gave us a price then, what was that?
Gosh, I don't remember, but that was for like 10 buildings, but they're very nice people. I can't remember, I'll be afraid to quote a figure, but we hashed it around 2 or 3 times and then it fell apart, so. But they're good people to deal with.
If there's none under business, we'll go to claims.
Troy, I had a couple of questions on yours. What's a Nomex hood that you bought?
Somebody said, so the hoods that go on, they cover the firemen, looks like a toboggan. They should have been being replaced every 10 years or less. Some of them are almost 20 years old. I'm gonna bring a report to you on the cause of the cancer, and that's one of the causes of hydrocarbons and stuff are being trapped in them. They lay right next to the thyroids, so they're recommending we replace them.
Okay.
Every fireman has 2. So you'll probably see another one come back in a couple of months for another set of them.
Okay. Doesn't say 24 you bought
Yeah.
this time. $520. What are the children's fire hats used for?
The little hats we give away during fire prevention week, little red caps, say fire department on it.
Okay, what grade do you give them to, or what schools?
We give them to all the little kids.
Schools.
How far,
All the elementary schools you go to?
yeah, the ones that come to the firehouse.
Oh, okay. They visit the fire station. Okay.
I have one question if you're finished, Fran.
I had 220 claims issued in the 2 weeks, $132,910.51. Go ahead, Mike.
Bad time to bring it up, but it's about the ammunition purchase. We purchased almost $3 grand worth of ammunition, and I see we didn't buy it in town. Is that this vendor where you normally buy it?
We shop around at times. where it's on sale, and you know how ammunition is
Yes.
in different places, you can get it places cheaper than others.
That's
I
okay.
don't rightly know which company we bought off this time.
TJ Conaveras Incorporated.
It's probably something that Robbie ordered and found a cheaper rate on.
Okay, that's fine. Are you ready for utilities?
Yeah.
Water's $94,505.22. Sewer is $138,635.19, and there was a bond in that. Stormwater is $8,895.63. Trash is $56,197.68, for a total of $298,233.72.
Your Honor, I move we accept the claims that have been submitted, approve the claims that have been submitted.
One second, please.
We have a motion on the, both this utility and city claims. Any discussion? Anybody out there have any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Any other business to come before this board today?
Mayor?
Yes.
I didn't get a chance to, but I want to thank the the board here and the mayor for assisting on getting him hired. I know I've had some brief conversations with you and everything else, but I wasn't totally, I guess I didn't get totally approval, and I apologize.
Usually bring the individual in and we talk, and I know who we are, and I like to look at it, and I did want to look at that overtime. I'm very concerned because of this part-time, only 29 hours, what it's going to do to us. I might even ask the police union if they would let us go to 5 or 6 part-time people. I don't think that hiring one person is going to control the overtime with 7 weeks vacation, 15 paid holidays, the time off with sick leave and personal days. I don't think we're going to be able to, we're going to have to look at that. And I'd like to talk to the union president about it.
Yeah.
You know, it was great when we had 3 people that could work up to 36 hours a week.
That's a real problem. That's what we need is,
Ward, thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
thank you.
Jane, what's the school doing about that? Didn't they have a lot of part-time people? Are all your bus drivers part-time or are they full-time?
They're more or less exempt because they're less than 29 and a half hours, always.
All of your bus drivers?
Yes.
Okay, that's good. Nothing to come before the board, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
Meeting the whole thing, we started.